It's Child Protection Week, and I'm joined in studio by Shahima McLeod and Zinat Osman. They're from the Saki Batman Center for Women and Children. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Now, Shahima, I want to start with you because the center has been running an incredibly powerful campaign. In fact, when I read about it, it was heartbreaking, really. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, it's called I Deserve It campaign, and we were testing the market to see what particularly grade 10 learners thought about when it's acceptable to abuse your partner or that your parents are being abused. And we tested the market with 600 grade 10 learners from various schools, from various areas as well. And unfortunately, it wasn't surprising to see the outcome of the statistics. It showed that 34% of the grade 10 learners thought that it was acceptable to be beaten and when it was acceptable. And the responses ranged anything from, mom didn't ensure that dinner was cooked on time, or he is my boyfriend so he's allowed to rape me or abuse me when he feels like it. The other spectrum was no matter what time or when it happens, it's never acceptable. People should be treated with respect.
Now, I want to reiterate at this point that this was a wide sample group.
Yes.
You spoke to 600 learners from separate areas in
Yes.
the Western Cape. And so, in your opinion, would you say this is really representative of the views across the board?
I certainly think so, and it just proves the fact that violence knows no discrimination. It touches anyone and everyone, regardless of your class, your race, your background. And what we found very interesting was that people can make the connection that it's not right, it's not the right thing to do. But however, how it plays out in the home is a completely different thing.
Now, Zina, do you deal with this on your day-to-day basis in your capacity at the center? And is this something that you're experiencing with the young women who you speak with?
I definitely do. I do think that they have this commonplace sense that sometimes it is okay, and especially if they want the relationship, if they're in a relationship with a younger gentleman. What I do find is that they kind of lose themselves, and it is because what is playing out within the homes and in the communities. So yes, we do educate, but I don't think that the education plays enough strongly because it's not reiterated at home as we would like it to be.
Shahima, what do we do then? Does it start with education? What do we do as South Africans?
I think that as parents, we have a responsibility to ensure that our children are safe and that they feel comfortable enough to speak to us to speak to us about what they are experiencing, whether it's in their personal relationships or whether it's in the school setting or just in the community. Zinat can speak more to the fact that, what are the precautionary measures to ensure that your children are safe. But, I think that we've reached this point where people have become so numb to their surroundings and what is happening in their personal relationships. So we need to say that we're not going to tolerate this anymore. We need to ensure that when we place our children in the care of someone else, it's someone that we trust and that we can be guaranteed will not hurt our children out there.
Before we go on to Zinat to talk about that issue, I want to speak just briefly about the relationships that these students who were spoken to obviously see modeled.
Right.
Because many of these responses refer to their parents, their mothers. My mother deserves it when my father hits her. And again, you said earlier that my mother deserves it when the food isn't on time. So certainly these children are seeing these relationships played out, and in a way it's almost normalizing the situation. And it is so difficult to say to a woman in an abusive situation, you need to leave, because we know it certainly is a difficult thing to do.
Yes.
But I thought these findings really highlighted the importance of trying at least to get help in a situation, especially when you have children watching it.
We need to have an opportunity to work with the boy child as well, to show them that there's a different way of dealing with your anger and your frustrations that you're experiencing. Zinat often teaches about containment methods that parents can use with their children to show them that, if you're angry or you are not pleased about things not going your way, step back, take a moment, absorb, and then talk about it. There's no need to become abusive.
Zenith, let's go to you at this point. Shahim has just touched on some of the equipping that you do with young men. What do you how do you train young men in situations like this?
So it's always obviously dependent on their age. With the younger children, we do a lot of theatre play as well as the psychoeducation, and we always focus on the psychoeducation. When it comes to the older boys, they need to feel that they are in charge, so that they can know that they have a step in the process, so that they know that these are normalized thoughts, that even though it's maybe not happening in the communities or at home, but that violence is never the answer. So we put them in the situation as to how would you feel? How would you feel if it was your mother, or if it was your girlfriend, or your sister, or if it was happening to you, so that they can know that it's never okay and that they have to take into consideration the next person's emotions as well. So it's always counseling, it's always normalizing, it's always reshaping their thinking, and as well as a whole lot of psychoeducation.